Hey, if you're a new parent or soon to be one, you know that navigating those first few years can be just an incredible, but sometimes a really overwhelming journey. Well, that's what we're going to get into today. A practical guide that pulls together modern science with the timeless wisdom of Islam to help you raise a child who is strong, healthy, and happy.
Right from the very beginning, Islam gives us this powerful perspective on our role as parents. This verse reminds us that raising our kids isn't just a duty, it's a sacred trust, an amana from Allah Himself. We're guardians, and our job is to make sure the next generation isn't left weak, not physically, not emotionally, and not spiritually.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by understanding the two main tracks of your child's journey. Then, we'll dive deep into the three pillars of parenting, Asu, Asi, and Asa. And we'll wrap up by talking about your crucial role as your child's guardian. To be the best guardian you can be, you gotta have a clear blueprint, and that starts with getting two fundamental ideas straight. Two things that sound similar, but are actually really different: growth and development. So what's the difference? It's actually pretty simple. Growth, or tumba, is the stuff you can measure with a scale or a measuring tape. Their height and weight. But development, kembang, is all about their skills maturing, learning to walk, to talk, to figure things out. So one's about getting bigger, the other is about getting smarter and more capable.
And this image here just perfectly captures that idea of growth, doesn't it? It's that change you can literally see month by month. But while growth is easy to spot, development, well, that requires a different kind of attention. So how do we support both? Well, that's where this amazing three-pillar framework comes in.
Let's start with the foundation, the bedrock of it all. Pillar 1, Asu. This is all about nurturing your child's body and taking care of their basic physical needs.
Asu pretty much covers the essentials, making sure they have good nutrition, proper health care and immunizations, warm clothes, and a safe place to live. And a huge part of it is also being vigilant, learning to spot the early signs of sickness so you can act fast.
Now this right here is a really critical window of time, the first 1,000 days of life, which starts from conception all the way to their second birthday. Science and our tradition both agree on this, giving them nutrition that's not just enough, but also halal and toyib, pure and wholesome, literally builds the foundation for their health for the rest of their lives.
Okay, so once you have that strong physical foundation, we build on it. A healthy body needs a healthy heart. And that brings us to pillar number 2, Asi. This is all about nurturing your child with love, affection, and that deep sense of emotional security.
You can think of Asi as the emotional food for your child's soul. It's creating that bond of love and trust, and it shows up in how we act, being a good role model, making them feel completely safe, giving them genuine praise that builds them up, and gently, patiently guiding them toward being independent and responsible.
And the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him, is just overflowing with these beautiful, real-world examples of Asiya. There's this incredible story where he would sometimes carry his young granddaughter, Umama, during prayer. He'd gently place her down when he bowed, and then pick her right back up when he stood. It just shows us that compassion, it isn't separate from our faith, it's right at the heart of it.
And praise is just as powerful. In another story, the prophet's grandson was riding a small horse, and someone nearby said, "What a fine horse!" The prophet, peace be upon him, immediately chimed in and said, "And the rider is even better." That simple act of praise, that's how you build a child's self-worth and make them feel truly seen.
All right, so we've got a nurtured body and a loved heart. Now that child is primed and ready for the third pillar, Asa. This is all about sharpening and stimulating their mind, their skills, and their spirit.
Asaf is where you're actively teaching and guiding. And we're not just talking about ABCs and 1, 2, 3s here. This is about shaping a whole person. It means teaching them good manners, or adab, helping them build a resilient personality, honing their intelligence, and encouraging them to be a positive force in the world.
A fantastic, really practical way to apply Asa is through the sports that are encouraged in the Sunnah. Things like swimming, archery, horse riding, they're not just fun and games. They build coordination, focus, discipline, all these crucial skills that are part of a child's development.
And please, remember this. Stimulation does not mean you need fancy toys or expensive classes. Not at all. It's something you can weave into everything you already do. Talking to your baby during a diaper change, singing to them during bath time, playing simple games. Those are all powerful forms of Asa that are building their brain from day one.
Okay, so you're putting in all this amazing work.
with Asa, Asi, and Asa. But that leads to a really important question, right? How do you actually know your child's on the right track? How do you know it's working?
And that brings us to your most important role as a parent, to be vigilant, informed, and proactive guardian of your child's well-being.
Being a guardian really just means being observant. By getting familiar with the normal milestones, like when kids typically roll over, or sit up, or say their first words, you empower yourself. You gain this ability to spot potential issues or delays super early.
This image here, it conveys such a powerful sense of urgency. A hadith about preventative health teaches us that just as you would run for your life from a lion, we have to act decisively when we suspect a problem. Early action is everything. It's our best defense.
So, what that means for you is, if you have concerns, if you have that gut feeling that something isn't quite right, please do not hesitate. Part of being a responsible guardian is knowing when to ask for help. Seeking professional advice is a sign of strength, and an early diagnosis can make all the difference in the world. When you put all these pieces together, it just becomes so incredibly clear. Investing your time, your knowledge, your love, and your effort into your child, it really is the best investment, the Turbike investment you will ever make.
Look, this combination of physical nurture, unconditional love, and mindful stimulation, that's the blueprint for raising a child who's strong in their body, their mind, and their faith. This journey is a marathon, not a sprint. It's built on all the small, consistent things you do every single day. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what is just one small step you can take today to nurture, to love, or to stimulate your child?